camp talk, recapping it. Obviously, there was a big uptick in interceptions at training camp this year. I don't know what it is that people keep making a big deal about this, John. I've been listening to you every day after practice. I listened to BLG, who we had on our program yesterday. I read a lot of the beat reporters who've been down there every day. And really, in nobody's reporting am I seeing that Jalen Hurts is having a bad camp. There's some interceptions, but there's nowhere I'm seeing he's having a bad camp. I think you've been consistent in saying that as well. It hasn't been great, I think you've said. But you also haven't said it's been a bad camp. Any accuracy concerns, any interception concerns that are coming off of camp here with Jalen Hurts, the new offense, presumably using the middle of the field a little bit more. Obviously, they are shifting the style of the passing game. At least we think they are. Your thought process on that as camp has now come to a close. It was the most interceptions Jalen's had in the camp.
Yeah, I'm not too concerned. I do think he's been above average. I don't think it's been great. I don't think it's been bad. Some of the early receptions I pointed out on the show, we did a show every day for camp. I mean, the one that went viral, that Quinyon Mitchell, I said at the time on the field, it looked like a bad throw. And then they put the video up and got a bunch of shit for it. And it turned out it was a bad route. Or at least that contributed to it. And that happened twice where they put the video up and I said, yeah, that looked like Jalen's mistake. And then the video shows it wasn't. It was more the receiver. So sometimes it could be, you can get further clarification, things like that. And Jalen talked about the Hollywood Brown and what they learned from it. No, the Elijah Moore interception early in camp, and then he bounced back and they got a big touchdown on a post route. That was the indoor practice. So, yeah, but there's definitely been growing pains. I mean, they're struggling offensively. Now, remember, in the passing game specifically, they've been pretty good in the run game. Remember, the vast majority of camp was without Devontae Smith. I shouldn't say the vast majority, but about half of camp, meaningful camp, was without Devontae Smith and Mekhi Lemon. So, you're throwing the backup receivers. And I'm not saying Mekhi Lemon's going to be better, but they think he's going to be better. So, I mean, and obviously Devontae's going to be good. So that alone should, the problem with camp is you have to grade on these scales day after day because, number one, who's out there? Who's getting the reps against the ones? Who's getting them? All reps are not the same. I talk about it all the time. Okay, who's in it? And at the open practice, the public practice, okay, Lane came out after a couple plays, and it was Fred Johnson, and they were resting Landon Dickerson, and it was Drew Kendall. He's had a pretty good camp, by the way. And then Jordan Mailata didn't participate, and they had John Njoku out there. It's different.
Yeah, right.
So all of that factors into it, but I never got to the point where I said, boy, he's having a bad camp. I've never even gotten close to that. I just think it's been a struggle as they do a bunch of new things, and they have not quite as good receivers as they've had in the past. And the receivers they are counting on, one of them wasn't there for a long period of time. Two of them weren't there for a long period of time. I would say, what do you expect?
Well, I think are you optimistic that Jalen could have a good year in this offense? I mean, early you've speculated or you've thought your thought process was you didn't really understand the shift, and it makes sense. I mean, they've won so much, but they are shifting. Now, I think we can all admit the offense wasn't great. the last couple of years, especially the passing game the last couple of years. Running game was great, obviously, 2 years ago. You think this is an offense that Hurts and the team and the offense can thrive in, can be better in, can be more efficient in, can accomplish the things that you want
There's
to
the word.
accomplish? First downs, can't lead the league in 3 and outs. I think people, again, are going too far on the, 4,000 yards. Who cares about that? Don't lead the league in 3 and outs. Be more efficient on first down. Try and move the sticks. Keep your defense off the bench or on the bench a little bit more well rested this year, and I think you'll be in a good spot. You tell me, what do you think? Is this a setup where they can do that and accomplish that?
Yeah, that's the word, efficient. That's what you're looking for. No, I don't think it's going to be an explosive offense. No, I don't think this is the salvation to the world. This particular scheme, which half the league uses, they're not reinventing the wheel. They're trying to get more efficient. And they have enough talent to where if they stay on schedule, they're going to have a good season.
Right.
But are they going to throw for 4,000 yards? No.
No, I don't think that's what you need anyway.
No, you don't. They're not built that way. But I mean, a lot of people want it.
Yeah, but even if they were built that way, I don't think that's the best indicator of success anyway. I don't think that's what you need to be a successful football team. And everybody watching the Eagles for the last 4 or 5 years should know that. I mean, you don't.
Everybody knows.
Nice little vanity stat, but it doesn't really, factor into how good of a team you can be. John, do you think? Are you optimistic from what you've seen from the running game that they can do that? They can stay ahead of the sticks. They can get the third and short more often. They can avoid those second and third and long situations, like you say, where you do naturally become predictable. Do you feel as though the run game part of the offense will be improved with the new style? I know you had a little reservation on that early as well, based on the skill set of Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, Saquon seems to like it, so I think he's on board with it. And the offensive line, I think the most positive part of training camp for the offense was that the offensive line was healthy for the most part. Lane left for a little bit to deal with his family issues, but it wasn't medical related. He got banged up a little bit at the public practice, but he was back the next day. So Landon, as I said, had a couple rest days. Cam had to bow out twice for heat related reasons, but other than that, he was 100%. Jordan was good. Tyler Steen is, I think, the most underrated player on the team. I think he's going to have a really good year. So I think that's the most positive part. I think they're going to have a good running game. I think they're going to be back. I'm not going to say they're going to be historic.
Yeah,
but I think they're going to be back to having a top 5 rushing offense, and that's going to fix a lot of freaking issues.
Yeah, if that's true, I think this team's a Super Bowl contender. I mean, are you kidding me? If they have a top 5 running game and this defense, I mean, how much is it? The other thing is the top 5 run game will help the rest of the offense, obviously. How much will the top 5 run game help the defense? I mean, I think that's going to create tremendous opportunity for the defense. You're going to win on field position a lot. You're going to, be well rested. You're going to control the clock, control the line of scrimmage. I mean, I think the defense would benefit tremendously from that as well.
Yeah, I lost you for a little bit. Not sure if it's me or you. Defense, yeah, will be helped. Yeah, obviously by better offense, no doubt about it. I mean, one of the reasons why the Eagles had a lesser, whatever they finished out of the top 10 in traditional defensive statistics. One of the reasons why, because they were always on the field, and they wear down a little bit. So that obviously helps. And And then I if you look at EPA, whether you like advanced statistics or not, I think a lot of people don't realize, like, the Eagles had a top 10 offense EPA wise, and every year, 21, 22, 23, and 24, top 10. Not traditional. So even when they're throwing for 2,900 yards in 24, they had a top 10 efficiency offense. And last year, even though the numbers went up, the efficiency went down. So be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, right.
And yeah, obviously the ultimate team game, as Nick will say 1,000,000 times between now and the playoffs. Everything affects everything else. Special teams, offense, defense. If the defense plays well, it's easier for the offense. If the offense plays well, it's easier for the defense. Special teams gives you a good field position. You help out. You can do that either way. You can do it while coverage and give the defense good field position. You can do it with a return. Everything affects everything else. That's what makes football fun.
No doubt.